Hey everyone, welcome back to OTR's podcast. I'm Amanda.
I'm Kenise.
And I'm Shawnee.
So today we're here to talk to you about a topic that is not normally what we speak about on our podcast, but it's something that's hitting very close to home for us. It is the Adrianna Younge story, the young lady that was, well, the child, let's be honest, she's a child, the child that died at the hotel in Guyana, South America. So this young girl went with her family for an outing and she went swimming. The story is that she went for a wristband and never came back. And over the last few days since last week, she was missing, and then her body just appeared in the pool that Thursday. That's a very abbreviated version of the story, but that's the story we would like to get into today. Um, our condolences to the family, to the parents, to the grandmother, the aunt, the entire family, and for all of those who, are kind of mourning with the family because of the fact that we don't know what has happened to her. Why is she dead? So our condolences. We are so sorry for your loss, and we truly hope that we can figure out what happened. And the truth is, do we believe that she drowned? Because that is what the autopsy and pathologists are saying. The three pathologists that came to Guyana, they said that she died by drowning. Now, there's a lot of other things that has happened uh, to her body. There bruising on her hands and her knees, and there was cotton wool or cotton swab in her nostrils, which they're saying wasn't there now. Do we believe that this young child drowned in that pool? No, I'm saying in that pool in the hotel. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's, it's a very sad story because it's just a child at the end of the day. Um, and I'm so confused by the police's initial response to the girl being reported missing. I think was a very big concern for me. I'm not of Guyanese origin, so I will defer this question to Kenise and Amanda. Is that like typical of the Guyana police force to not take a missing child's report as seriously as they didn't take for Adriana's case? Is that like normal?
Well, isn't it that 24-hour rule, right? Because it's actually on the timeline, it says that on April 23rd, around 1 to 1:10 p.m., her grandmother and all the other relatives are at this resort, and he gave her money to get this band. Her body was found floating upward, right? So typically when you see a drowned person drowns, they're like face down
Mm-hmm.
in the pool, but she was like floating, standing up in a
Like she
very
was dropped in there, maybe.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like dropped in, right,
They
right.
slipped her body back in. Yeah.
And it was found 20 hours after she was reported missing. Now in Guyana, I feel they're very slow to like really get on it. And I'm sure there's other things children that people have called, but I think they get that 24-hour rule. Like I think here in the States, if you if you report a missing child, they tell you to wait 24 hours, don't they?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. It sounds like that's probably, also the case here, but I just thought it was weird because from what I'm reading, from what I'm seeing on social media, coming straight from the girl's family. So this is not coming from any like third party
Mhm.
source because I did watch an interview
Yes.
with a few of her family members that were there with her. And they said that how after they had reported, I guess whenever the police did come to the hotel, that they said that they reviewed surveillance footage
Mm-hmm.
and that she had gotten into a van or a car or
Right.
something, and they gave the color of the car. I'm not sure if they gave the license plate number to like the
And the
family. I don't know
person's
how.
name. Yeah.
Right, the color of the car, and she got in, and her family was like, no, that's not it's not on par to her personality, because from what
Mhm.
they were saying, that she was kind of like an introverted child and wouldn't do something like that, normally. So then when they kept asking to see the footage, they had nothing to show them. So I think that's the biggest, not the biggest thing that, like, you know, is appalling from this case. Obviously the girl is like no longer alive, but why would they why would they lie to the family and say that she got into a van when she could clearly never left the hotel grounds?
And they still haven't produced that footage you're referring to, Shawnee, that okay, they have footage of this. Okay, show us. I think now they're gonna say the place is burned and there's no access to the footage. But you're right. Like they released like a solid statement. And if we think about it, now the parents and the family are thinking like, okay, let's say they believe that for a second. Their attention, like everyone's attention and efforts will go somewhere else instead of in the vicinity of where it happened. And okay, maybe there is a rule with like you have to wait, but why not if the family's saying like, hey, like our kid doesn't do that out of, you know, just basic human, I don't know what the word is right now, but like, just being a human being. Okay, come in and take a look at the place then. Let's help us look. Let's look in our because they know their establishment. And here's a mom and a dad and a family that is like, oh my God, my kid is not here. You can see the terror in their face. Come in, let's help us search our place. So you're telling me with all the searching that they said they did, y'all didn't see that girl in the pool drowning? And I'm
Well,
sorry,
it
like,
was
come on.
actually the Guyana police force that initially reported. However, they reported this when they were looking for her, that she got into this black Toyota car, even with they had a plate number for this car, but
Mhm.
there was still they haven't given yet to date where they received that information. So why would the police themselves even admit wrongfully reporting something like this? So do you understand what I mean? Like now, who do you really trust?
Who could help you? Like, I feel really bad because who's gonna get to the bottom of this, right? Like, I from what we just heard, like the pathologists have left, right? So we have a story where now her body was found in such a gruesome way too. Her dad pulls the body out of the pool,
So
and we
walk
were
us through that though, Amanda. Like
yeah.
you are enlightening me. Like, so the next day
Mhm.
weren't the parents trying to get into this resort? They wouldn't let them in. And
No.
finally they did. And can you unravel that for us?
I mean, from what I understand, they were outside of the building the Wednesday nighttime. It's now like 12 o'clock, midnight. That's when the I guess the owners finally said, okay, you can come in. I don't know if it's the owners or the police said that they can finally enter the premises, but it's 12 o'clock at night. Guyana is pitch black when it's dark. And if you've been home, yes, we have street lights, but it's nothing like America where we're used to. You really can't see as much. So these people don't know the building. So I think the father had said, why don't you send the police to come help search? Now we're getting in. Bring the police, bring the dogs, or whatever the case is. But people did go into the resort. They didn't see her in the pool.
Right.
So explain that to me. The first place any person would check, and they
Is
even
the
had said,
pool.
oh, we checked the entire resort, would be the pool.
Right.
She's not in the pool. You're telling me that suction, whatever suction y'all get in y'all pool, it's so whatever that it pulled her and she's stuck in the bottom? Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, I
Yeah,
think
and
I come on. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Amanda, and she was also, I guess, I heard, not sure if this is true, and I don't want to be a part of spreading misinformation as well.
Yeah.
I'm just reporting on what I've seen so far. That the only reason why in the morning there, I think if you've seen footage of when they did find her body,
Mhm.
there was like a crowd of people around the
Mhm.
pool. And I heard that people jumped the fence to get in. Um, did that cause panic? To just like
Get
dispose
rid of
of
it.
her body in the pool, like this crowd is coming. What also confused me as well were a couple of things. Like one, they said that her body had bruises on it. Like there was like visible
Yes.
marks on her
Hmm.
arms and her
Yes.
face and things like that.
Hmm.
Number two, there's a certain, I don't know if he's a policeman or he's a detective or whatever. His name is escaping me right now, but there's like footage of him coming down the stairs, and there's clearly a crowd of people. There's the poor girl's body's there on display for everyone to see. And he's just like nonchalantly, like, I think on the phone or something, and like walking down the stairs. And in the background, you see like black smoke just like billowing out from a room. And I think initially, the media, the police, I don't know, they were saying that how the crowd, the protesters were the ones that were starting the fires in the hotel and everything. But how could that have been if those people had just jumped the fence? You know, they saw the girl's body in the pool. Everyone's in shock. Everyone's like crowded around the pool. And this guy's coming from that direction just so very calmly, like not reacting to someone that's working this case and the body's just been found. You know what I mean?
Like where like his concern wasn't there in that moment, right? Like the way you would expect someone to react and give that attention to the family, he's just kind of almost seems nonchalant or in dealing with something that's separate. Like it's handled. I'm just saying.
And someone else, I forgot the creator that put out the video, but she zoomed in on this guy.
Hmm.
And he had like from a little less than his knees down, you could see his jeans was a little soaked. It was
Hmm.
wet. And he was leaving like wet footprints like on the stairs or whatever. So it's just like,
Why is your foot so wet? There was no rain.
yeah, she clearly zoomed in on the like the video, like she stilled the video and zoomed in. So I was just like, how are you wet if you're just coming down from down upstairs?
Well, let's unravel like a little bit about this the owner of this hotel. So it's the Doubleday Hotel, owned by this gentleman. I believe his name, I don't know if I'm going to mess up his name, but we'll call him Mr. Bola. So it's Bonarine. So this is not the first time, Amanda, you had mentioned that this is not the first time. In 2012, I think I read after you told me that there was a mechanic who was found dead in the same pool under suspicious circumstances. So why is this place still open? Number one, this is 2012. Then the hotel's owner and a staff member were charged for this particular issue back in 2012, but they were freed. So the historical backdrop of like what this hotel has experienced in the past has definitely more now illuminated that why is this hotel owner free? What are they running there? Who's involved there in this particular hotel, and whose hands is in whose pockets, giving money and shutting people down? Because obviously there's shady stuff going on, including like you guys had mentioned sacrificing. That's all over Guyana right now too. That was this part of like a sacrificial thing.
I mean, yes, like I mean, there you said a couple of things there. The previous case,
Yeah.
the young man that had ended up in the pool, uh, friends and family of his said that he would never go swimming, especially in an 8 foot pool is deep. If somebody does
Mm-hmm.
not know how to swim, you will drown. I don't know how to swim. I would certainly drown. So I feel like, and they were saying like he would not do that. He wouldn't go in a pool where he cannot
Right.
swim. So that's
Right.
another thing that, and like you said, apparently they were charged. I didn't know they were charged for it,
They were
but
charged and are freed.
they're freed. So, the frustration is one, we're gonna get back to that sacrificial thing, because that's a whole other scary thing if that's what's happening. And you're getting people, you're luring people in by the business, and then you're picking and choosing based on someone had shared like a satanic calendar on like I think it was TikTok or something like that. And they were just showing that, these days you do certain types of sacrifice. I
Yeah.
don't know how true all of that is,
Mm-hmm.
but right now we're unpacking what we're seeing, what we're hearing, right? And if there is something going on, the reason why this bot, because I normally don't get like involved in political things, but when something has to do with like a life, that's where it's like, and especially a little girl, it makes me very like upset and very passionate about it because I want her to get justice. Why were these people freed? How is an establishment, if someone drowns in your pool, what is the regulations now that you have to do to your pool to make sure that people don't drown? One, shouldn't you have a
A
lifeguard?
lifeguard, right?
Common sense.
Right.
Fix the suction in your pool if it's sucking people up and killing them. That's what they want us to believe, right?
Yes,
So
that's what they want you to believe, yeah.
And to Shawnee's point, how are we supposed to like have confidence when the police said they even saw her? I believe somebody said they saw her somewhere else. You know, she got in the car and they saw her where she went. They had the name of a boy that she was with. If they can put things out like that, and that's clearly not true, because if she left the hotel, how she end up back in the pool? Come on, how did she end up back in the pool? You guys let her in? So that's clearly a lie. And that's not us, like, this is just breaking down what people are saying. And then we come to the conclusion you're telling us, you know?
I think, Amanda, I think this week I had asked you, because again, I've never been to Guyana, so I don't know like the towns like that. I just know Georgetown, if I'm being honest. But I know it's like a town. So do you think like where this hotel is located, and I guess the locals that maybe frequent this hotel for its pool and amenities and all of that, is it in the countryside? Do you think it's like a matter of the police just not thinking? I mean, I don't think they would have predicted that this story got as big as it did and all the attention that this is getting globally. But do you think they take advantage on a regular basis with the country people more because they feel like they don't have the resources, they don't have the tools, they don't have financial means to pursue when they're wronged?
They don't have the connections. I said it.
And
They don't have
that is disgusting.
That's
Like
why
you are
I'm so
taking
sad.
advantage of people because they don't have connections, they don't have money. Like, come on, it's a child.
It's a child, it's a life. And, you know, I just want to insert this here. We're not saying what's happening right now. We heard that there is looting. We heard that someone threw acid in a child's face. That is unacceptable, because
Right.
at the end of the day, we want justice for Adrianna's death. Her death will not go in vain. We will put an end to whatever's happening in this hotel, whether it's just you're really shitty at running a business and you don't care about safety, or maybe you are performing sacrifices on people's lives. Whatever the spectrum is. But we cannot get that justice for her if we continue to do things like loot, hurt other people. We're not going to get the justice. And guess what that's going to do? They're going to say, oh, you see how they behave. Look at how they're behaving. And it's going to take away the focus from getting the justice. I just want to say to anyone, you know, I know we're really upset. You should protest, but there's peaceful protest. You'll get more with peaceful protest than you would hurting people, setting things on fire. I get you're angry, but you have to take that anger and fuel it into finding and getting that justice. Now that that is said, I just want to put that out there because like I that makes me sad too. Like
Well,
that's
I think the sad part of this, Amanda, you know, when people protest here in the States or they protest in any other country, it's because they feel that there has never been proper justice, you know, that has been bestowed. And I feel the same way you do. Trust me, I really do. But I feel, a friend of mine told me when I spoke to them yesterday, he's in Guyana right now. He works with young people and they had a gala and he felt bad doing this gala on Saturday because it was very
Fresh.
morbid, you know, there. And obviously he works with young people as well. But he said, you know, you're in Long Island and you're talking about justice. Very different that you get up, you get into your car, you have a supermarket, and you have internet, he was like, this is a very different place. You know, Guyana. Yes, I do know Guyana. So I've never been to this particular area, to tell you the truth. So he says it's just very different, the thinking, the mentality.
yes.
So what they're looking at, the police lied. If the police who were entrusting to help us with justice are some way, shape, or form involved in this, then what do you expect them to do? There's where else should they go? What else should they be? No, I don't agree they should be hurting other people, burning people's businesses down and things like that. No, but let's take a step back. Like, what if we were there, not living where we are right now, not having the amenities that we have now, and we're where they are? What would we do?
It's true.
It's a good point.
So I hear you. I think I said the same thing yesterday. I was like, we want justice. And he brought me right off my little, my soapbox. And he was like, what are you talking about? You're out in Long Island enjoying life. And I'm like,
ouch.
I know it did hurt, because he was like, you're not thinking like the individuals who are in Guyana that don't have what you have.
Okay, fair. Like so maybe that's why people are acting the way they do, right? Maybe they don't know what else to do. They feel desperate. When people are desperate, they will do desperate things.
Yes.
And I get that. But it can take us off track as to why this is happening there. Why did this happen to this little girl? Because we still haven't even answered like half the questions. Like, they're saying the scrape and the discoloration too on her knees and her hands and her face is conducive with someone who drowns.
Right.
But why is it prominent in certain parts? I don't get, if the suction made her drown, how is it that, like, unfortunately I saw the video. I didn't realize I was watching the video until I was like, oh my God, this is the real thing that's happening, and I don't know how we're supposed to make this make sense. And that's what I think everyone's wondering. How do we make this make sense? Because you guys you're giving us information, but we may not be rocket scientists, but we're not stupid. So
how do you guys feel about the president's response to?
Well, before we just get to the president, Shawnee, really quickly on your point, Amanda, I think yesterday it was mentioned that her attorney, the family's attorney, have confirmed that the autopsy does confirm that this is a drowning. Her own attorney has confirmed that. So when her own attorney is confirming that, did somebody pay her attorney to say that? Like, I watch Scandal.
Is this a private attorney or like a government?
I don't know. I'm asking you guys like to shed more light. I don't know all the info.
I feel like the law in any, like even here in like the States, I feel like, the law industry, whatever state you're in, is not fairly big. I feel like people know people. This one knows that judge and this one knows this, and this is connected to like a policeman. So it could very well be a case of like, again, money makes the world go round, unfortunately. Money make people greedy.
It does. I spoke to someone about it and I threw that out there. I was like, do you think there's any possibility that he may have, gotten any sort of cut? But then the person was telling me they don't know the person personally, but they know of him. And they said he's he's an upstand guy. Then I came across a video where someone's speaking about his character, saying that he's the one that he shows up, even if it's like 2:00 in the morning, like if you need him for a case. So let's say we give him the benefit of the doubt, right? And let's say she did die by drowning. Okay, but that does not mean that she died in that pool, because that means everybody else that searched that place before are blind because they couldn't see her in the pool. Because like, even if it's like at nighttime, I get it, you probably missed it, but in the morning, there's workers at the hotel, people are there, and still no one saw her in the pool because she wasn't in the pool.
Well, what kind of attorney are you? Upstanding or not? Aren't you going to look at the facts? Okay, the autopsy is one thing, but aren't you going to look at every other fact around that? Exactly your point there, Amanda. So yeah, I believe you can pay off anybody with any amount of money. You can pay them off easily, and they'll say whatever you want them to say, especially in Guyana is noted as a third world country. That is the country I'm from. I'm not speaking negatively of my country at all, but this is what Guyana has been known for. Just, it's unfair. There is no justice. And let's go to Shawnee's question now. Let's see what our politicians in this wonderful nation of ours is saying about this whole, and what are they doing about it? Because they can definitely make things happen very quickly.
is it maybe it's just my feed, but I didn't see much from the president. I remember seeing one
I thought
thing.
he met with the family, like
He met with the
outside the
family.
hotel. I saw that.
Yeah, and then there was some statement, maybe it's around the same time you're referencing, where he says that we'll do whatever we have to, even if it requires us to seek international assistance, we would
Mhm.
do that. That's like we would do that to help the situation. But other than that, I haven't seen other things that he said or done. But Kenise, you mentioned the wife's statement.
Yes, the first lady
Yeah.
did talk about, and she said very, I don't know, it was like a couple of days later, which is fine, and I'll read it. And you guys tell me what your thoughts are. So, if your child just died in a pool, supposedly 24 hours after you looked at the pool and her body shows up, over the past few days, I've been quietly reflecting on the tragic loss of little Adrianna. Like many of you, I've been awaiting clear and verified information while sharing in the national grief. My heart aches for the parents, family, friends, schoolmates, teachers, and neighbors of Adrianna. I mourn the loss of the intelligent, upstanding grown up she never got to be. I'm heartened by the nationwide outpouring of support and solidarity for Adriana's family and community. I'm also grateful for the distinguished panel of pathologists who traveled here from abroad to help a grieving family and the nation financiers. Like every Guyanese family, my family mourns Adriana's death as if she were a member of our own family. Okay, I'll leave my comments. We stand ready to support her family during this most difficult time. I take this time to also call on those using this fragile situation to perpetuate violence and instill fear to desist from doing so. Desist from doing so. Adriana's life was one of peace, calmness, and love, and we must demonstrate these qualities even in the most difficult times in her honor. May her beautiful and soul rest peacefully.
Hello,
This is your daughter.
ChatGPT.
Chat GPT, yeah.
Has she visited the family? Has she I mean, not to say that we know everything. We don't know like to what extent. I would hope that she reached out to the family, you know.
She
Um
didn't go with her husband. I think that's, even if you wanted to do like great press, why won't you go with your husband? You cancel whatever you have, like a mother, like the dad, yes, but as a mom, imagine what she is going through. The dad, Amanda, you said the dad jumped into this pool. Where was the police officers? I have no idea. Where was the staff at this hotel showing any type of remorse for this? The dad has to jump in and pick his child that's been missing for almost 24 hours. And this is what you're going to tell me? Chat GPT?
I don't know. It's not a good statement. I think from a third party looking in, it's just like, okay, and what? Like I lost my child and your police suck.
If it
And
was the president's child that went through this, what do you think would be happening right now? Don't you think we would have a host of FBI people coming in from Dubai with
Absolutely.
all of our oil money coming in and being able to get on top of this as quickly as possible? Time is ticking, and the time as time ticks, we're over a week now, right? As time ticks, the evidence gets staler and staler, press gets lower and lower. Like you have to hit it, and they're not doing that. They're waiting it out. That this child is going to be forgotten, like every other child that has disappeared, and not to say there's other parents who've lost their children in very tragic ways, and we don't want to disregard them, because I believe they needed justice as well. Can this little girl's life bring any type of justice in Guyana at this point? I don't think so.
You said something good. If it was the president's kid, they would, or I'll challenge that even further. If it was anyone that had resources and connections, like one of the big wigs, right? I am certain we would have figured out how Air Force One could fly down to Guyana and bring the body over here. We would,
President Trump would have been there.
President Trump would have gone.
Yeah.
But and that's, you know what? That's just the truth of it. If it was someone that was like that came from, that type of that class, that background with those connections, the attention would be different. And to your point, what's going to happen to her life now? Because everything is dwindling, right? What are we going to ever know what happened to this little girl? That's what it comes down to. What happened to her?
And that's why the people are reacting the way they're reacting. Not good, but they're like, this, we need answers. And only people that can give the answer, it starts from the president. I think the president leads the way. It's a small country. We're not talking about, a massive country. What else is on your agenda, Mr. President? There's nothing else on your agenda. You're like, deal with this situation. And it's also, isn't it this year's an election year?
I didn't realize it was this year. I thought it was next year, but my mom told me it was this year.
Yeah, this year's an election year. So what are you doing, Mr. President, about this? On scandal, Mr. President would have gotten involved.
It's just overall a very sad situation. I don't know. I hope that the family gets some kind of justice or answers or anything. Losing a child itself is difficult, but under these like really heinous and tragic circumstances where nothing makes sense and you're being fed lie after lie after lie, it's really disheartening. You have like fake support from your president and his wife, and it doesn't make sense at all.
I mean, I think I would have probably liked to see a more relatable statement. Like, why couldn't they have done? Because this is a big deal. Like you said, Kenise, Guyana is not a big country. So when something happens down the block, everybody knows about it because it's not a big country.
Yeah.
So
right.
I would have liked to see her and him as parents,
Right.
have a conversation like this, be like, like where you can feel their passion and their pain, because as a parent, no parent should bury their child. It's not built that way. That's not how the circle of life works. So I would have wanted to see something like that. That statement looks so curated, like it's perfectly curated. I'm checking that box. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about that. And I'm not saying she's not sincere in her statement. I'm just saying I wanted to see a little bit more. I want to see I want to see your hurt a little bit in this, because it's one of us, one of our own.
Right.
It's not your family, but it's one of our own that no
Right.
longer has their life.
And if you love this country, if you love our country, you would want to see this work. This just little girl will never be able to graduate, never be able to get married, never be able to have kids. Is it that fair to her? And then the hotel owner, nobody knows where he is. Supposedly he's in custody. And then some people are saying supposedly he left the country. They allowed him to leave the country. You can't even get the straight up news of where is the hotel owner? Where are the cameras?
Where is SVU here? I need SVU on the scene. Like that's the kind of like action we want to see. And that's the kind of investment we want to see from the people who are in the positions and have the power to make a difference. Every creator, everyone with a platform is trying to talk about and bring awareness. And it's not for the benefit of the platform, but it's a benefit for her. We want to see her get justice because it's not right. And I feel, at least I'm going to say, I do not believe she drowned in the pool. Do you ladies agree?
I agree.
I don't think she drowned in the pool. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all. It's not adding up. It's just like the bothersome part is like they want to feed the people BS and expect them to take the BS and go back and stay quiet in a corner. And I'm sure I'm so, happy that this got the traction that it did. Can you imagine the stories that don't get this attention? What else is going on? What other misconduct is happening in with the police force and everything else? This is just one story. Imagine like all the other heinous things that goes on and we don't know about.
Right. And it's so sad.
It is very sad.
Makes you very sad.
Especially like crimes against children. Like that's really, really, it's sick, it's disgusting, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I guess it's been a week, I think, since or
The
almost a week
23rd,
since they
right?
found her
Was when
body.
they found her body.
It's a week since it's happened, and tomorrow will make 1 week since they found her.
Mm.
So hopefully there will be more news coming out from this. I hope it's not, I don't know if it's the same in Guyana, but in Trinidad, if a crime happens, it takes years for it before it gets to court. Like a crime could have happened like 10, 15 years ago and it's now getting into court. So I don't know if it's the same over there with you guys.
It could take a minute.
I hope it's not that long.
I hope it's not that long too. And I think, we're gonna keep the family in prayer. And honestly, we truly hope that justice does, prevail here, and that she did not die in vain. Come on, guys, it's just not right. So we really hope that everyone does what they're supposed to do with the power that they have, so that we can finally figure out what happened and let it make sense for us. Let it make sense for us. Because, and I get it that there's one option, but I think people want to see you play out the different scenarios that could have happened. At least give some sort of credibility to that and show that you're looking into it to rule it out. Don't just say it didn't happen, right? I personally believe something else happened there. That's not just a casual drowning, because if it was, if somebody told you that their kid, is missing and they were at the pool, the first thing you do is go to the pool. So, like, I get it, but don't treat the public like they're stupid. And I think that's what is annoying people.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. His statement, he actually on because I follow him on like Facebook, the president. So he did do a press release yesterday at 2 a.m. in the morning. He posted a letter from the Office of Commissioner that publicly stated to notify, I guess he posted it so people could see that they're actively reviewing all of the Guyana police force and all the persons implicated in criminal conduct, including arson, blocking and burning. Like he talks about like what they're going to be doing about what people are doing now, like the heinous acts. But then he made like at 5:57 a.m. after the 2:09 a.m. I don't know who's posting for him. They're obviously not sleeping. But he just talks about, I pray that we were inspired by what has happened and our tears draws us close together. I pray that as a people, we will work together to leave behind a better community and country. We are blessed to live in this land we call home. Let us care for it, protect it. So the focus, I get it, as a president, is the safety of his people. But the root cause of how we can get the safety of his people is to hone in on getting quick answers for this young lady. I feel like the DR situation that we did, like a quick bonus episode, how quickly did they move on that? No, it was every day. It was pumped, right?
They were searching the waters and all that stuff.
Questioning people, getting answers, looking at footage, it was like, it was quick.
Well, why would his first statement, I mean, you're right, Kenise, like the safety is first and foremost, but why? I don't know, why would that be? I don't know. I wouldn't have addressed it that way. Like that's your focus. I get it, stop the fires and the looting and whatever's going on, but I don't know. It's just like, why would you not say something like, oh, like the people, any misconduct that happened in this case, the handling of it, right? Not even trying to be accusatory, because I know he doesn't have like sufficient evidence to be accusatory or use that type of language. But why not say, like the investigation is happening and any misconduct will be reprimanded or something like that, something
Right.
to something to that
Right.
effect.
The person will come to justice. Like I will see to it that the justice is served. And I'm
Right.
gonna and whatever resources you guys need, like whatever you need, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
sure that it's done. I'm
And I
personally committed to this.
and I will make sure that the family has all of the resources that they need, because they can't work, right now, what's happening to them financially.
Mhm.
where's the support in that, and
Right.
providing them with maybe counselors and things like that, because they have other children, I think, right? Small children. And they're seeing, I saw like what I can assume is one of her siblings, like next to the mom in an interview, and the mom is just like distraught, rightfully so. But like they're seeing all of this, so like why not even show your support and be like, we're really pulling through for the family and providing them with all these tools and resources that they need in order to cope with their loss or something to
Mhm.
that effect. It was, I don't know, again, rubbed me the wrong way, him and his wife.
I think it's a lack of acknowledgement. You're not acknowledging the elephant in the room, right? You're not acknowledging it.
The Mokita.
The moquita.
And I think we didn't mention that they did end up burning down the residents of the area, whoever burnt down the whole hotel a couple of days after they
It needed
torched
to
it.
be burned down if this is not the first time something like this happened.
Yeah, they burnt it to the ground. So we know that that will never happen again.
People will think twice.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
Maybe
I
that's
hope
the only justice we can get.
I hope not. I'm not satisfied with that because they get insurance money some way, shape, or form. They rebuild the shit, and then here we go again.
Yes, I know, Amanda.
It pains
Well,
me. This is why I don't like. I can't. I get very passionate about stuff like this, and it's like it breaks my heart because it's like I can see this going the other way, and like by next week we're talking about something else because to Shawnee's point, it rubs you the wrong way when the statements coming from the people that have the power don't even acknowledge, you know, why you have to look at your police force.
Yeah.
Don't lose sight of that.
And it's not just Guyana, it's the Caribbean as a whole. They're beautiful destinations, like the best nature in the world. I might be biased, but I feel like the Caribbean has literally such a beautiful land and resources and people and culture and food. And it's just like, why are we so backwards when it comes to
right.
everything else? Trinidad isn't any better. Trinidad, it's horrible. I haven't visited because I don't feel safe. In years, I haven't been to Trinidad in 5 years because the safety is a big concern. And I know it spreads across other countries, Jamaica and Barbados and Dominican Republic and Haiti and all these other islands and
Mm-hmm.
countries. And
Mm-hmm.
why can't we get it together
Right.
so that these things, like we're not burying children?
Well, our main point of this episode is to bring you guys to bring awareness, and we pray for the family, obviously, and we pray for justice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that brings us to the end of this episode. I think Keith said it perfectly. We're going to keep the family in prayer and pray for justice. You did not die in vain.